We are going to play a new game called Buy, Sell, Hold. In this game, we are going to be giving each other teams, and we have to decide if we're going to buy them, sell them, or hold them. Buy them, meaning that you will believe in them. Sell them means, well, frankly, you just don't. And hold them means you're kind of unsure about it. You're not ready to make a move either which way, so you just want to keep them close to the chest. Let's start off with the Dolphins. Tristan, buy, sell, or hold?
I'm in a similar position with the Dolphins as I was last year. I am selling. I am selling my Dolphins stock to anyone that will buy it. I could be wrong. I think the Vegas opening line had them at 8.5 wins over under. I don't get it. I feel like the Mike McDaniel thing is still inflated. Yes, when Tua plays, they win games, but then they make the playoffs and they get absolutely crushed. This is not a physical football team. This is a team that relies on speed. And also, I just don't think Mike McDaniel is a good head football coach. I don't. I think he's average. I don't think he's good to great. We heard the press conference where he talked about guys showing up late. You're having a hard time getting people to be accountable. Tyreek Hill acts like he wants out every other week. Before we continue with the video, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Tell your friends about it. We're trying to grow this channel. 2 idiots covering one sport. Subscribe so you feel better about your sports takes. Back to the video. I don't believe in the Dolphins. I don't believe in Tua. I think he's limited, and I think Mike McDaniel is limited as a coach. The speed thing only gets you so far. They are not a real playoff threat. I'm selling. Okay, Ryan, the Los Angeles Chargers, year 2 with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Will it be better? Buy, sell, or hold?
Yeah, right now I think I'm gonna hold him, man. I just don't know enough yet to be confident on buying the stock of this team. I think Harbaugh's going to have them in a better position this year because he is more comfortable with the team. He's been able to make some moves now. Herbert does look a little bit better. He looks a little bit more improved under Harbaugh.
Other than the playoff game.
Well, let's not talk about that.
Put that one out.
That's just, obviously we know we're not including that. Ladd McConkey is going to be, he's going to be one of those guys that's just a go-to solid dude like Cooper Kupp is, that's kind of how he plays. I think that this team is 9.5 right now, win totals, over under. That's a high number. I hope they can make it, but again, I'm just so unsure because how shaky that playoff game did look. I'm gonna hold them right now, man. I just don't feel confident in them to go either which way. The Houston Texans, Tristan, are you gonna buy, sell, or hold them?
I don't like being in this position because I don't want to be a hater. I love CJ Stroud. I like D'Amico Ryans a lot. I'm going to hold the Houston Texans, mainly because, and Texans fans, please comment, what the hell are we doing with the offensive line? The offensive line was an issue last year, and they literally basically shipped everybody out of town. Trade, cut. I know they needed to improve it. I didn't think they would get rid of every offensive line starter, essentially. So that's the only issue. I am really worried about that. Obviously, Diggs left, signed with the Patriots. I think they'll be okay, but then you had the Tank Dell injury. So, where do we go at receiver? How do we handle that other than Nico Collins? We know Stroud's going to be good. We know that defense is going to be good. But the number one thing to me, man, is the offensive line. Stroud regressed a little bit last year because of the offensive line a lot of the times, and sometimes because of him. They did good in that playoff game for what they expected, I think. I think they played the Chiefs relatively close. So they're there. They're making the playoffs. They just got to get over the hump, but they got to be a more complete team in the trenches on both sides of the football. If they do that, I'm buying, but I got to wait and see how the draft and everything shakes out. So I'm holding for now. All right, Ryan, the Cincinnati Bengals, after missing the playoffs last year, having a rough start, they paid Jamar Chase, they paid T. Higgins. They've got Joe Burrow. Will it be a better season? Buy, sell, or hold on the Bengals?
Don't care if it is going to be a better season because every time I've picked this team, they have burned me, so I am selling them so fast. I want all of my stock gone. I want it to crash and burn. This team has never, ever done good for me. So this is a personal vendetta, really, to be quite frank with you. But I will talk some actual areas of football where I think that they're still going to struggle this year because while they did secure those 2 great wide receivers, and they can win games just based off how good Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is, and now T. Higgins, if he can stay healthy,
right?
You still have some pretty big gaps. One of those gaps is going to be defensive end. You lost Sam Hubbard. He retired. So where are you going to go with that? You got to fill that. And then also, what have you done on the offensive line? The offensive guard position is still open. We don't know how well that's going to be handled. We know that was a struggle for them. It's been a struggle for them for a while. So they haven't addressed some of these areas where it's vital. the trenches, man. We always talk about it. We say the trenches are where games are won and lost. And outside of that one spectacular game where Jamar Chase catches 6 touchdowns, where are you going to win these big-time games? Because that's where the Bengals struggle. You know, they can walk up and down the field on some teams, and act like they know how to play football, and then they play some teams like, I don't know, the Giants, and then they look like complete garbage. So until the Bengals are able to fix other areas besides just writing big checks to these big-time players, I'm going to sell them forever. The New England Patriots, Tristan, are you going to buy, sell, or hold them?
I'm in a predicament here because I feel like I have been one of the only, I don't want to say critics, I feel like I've been the only sane voice on Mike Vrabel the past couple of years on YouTube. Everyone acted like he was, one of the best football coaches in the NFL, and I was like, he's good, but let's look at his numbers for a defensive wizard. His defense is always ranked like 16th, 17th. With that said, I'm going to buy the Patriots for this reason. I'm not buying them to make the playoffs and go on a deep run, but I'm buying them to be a respectable football team again. That's one thing Mike Vrabel is going to give you. Mike Vrabel is going to give you a well-run organization. The grown-ups are in charge again. The inmates ran the asylum last year. We all knew the Gerard Mayo hire was absurd. Credit to Kraft for being one and done. Vrabel's going to add legitimacy back into that room. And also, Drake May, I think he had a promising rookie season. I think he looked really good. So, assuming he can continue to develop, I don't like the Stephon Diggs addition. They need a lot of roster help, but with Vrabel, they're going to immediately improve. They won 4 games last year. I think easily, just because of the addition of Vrabel and May continuing to get better and learn his craft at playing quarterback, I think they could win 7 to 8 games. So that would be an improvement, and they're a team that isn't going to be a pushover anymore. When you play a Mike Vrabel team, he's going to have something up his sleeve. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be well disciplined. And after last year, that's a good thing for the New England Patriots. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, back-to-back years making the playoffs, but again, they've lost their offensive coordinator. Will Baker and Todd Bowles survive it? It seems like they always do. What about this year in 2025? Buy, sell, or hold on the Buccaneers?
I'm going to make it rain on the Bucs, man. I'm going to buy them all day long. I love this team, the continuity this team has, how Baker Mayfield is able to lead this team. They always stand strong in every single game they play. It's almost like they never get blown out too much, They're playing it down to the wire. They obviously have, I think, one of the top 5 most improved rosters. They signed Hassan Reddick to a 1-year deal. They retained Godwin, so they kept true, really good, secure, locked-in foundational players on this team like Godwin, and it's one of those things that they needed to be able to overcome losing the offensive coordinator and some other players that they did lose this offseason. But I think ultimately, when you look at this team, they had the dog in them. They had the fight. Todd Bowles works well with this team and with Baker. Everybody seems to get along. It's not one of those awkward situations on the sideline most of the time. So I think overall, with what the Bucs have done this offseason, I think they're well improved. I think they're ready to go into the next season fighting. And to be frank with you, nobody else in their division really did anything spectacular.
Fair point.
So I think they have a really good shot of winning this division. And I think that they could be a true playoff contender this year coming up in 2025. Tristan, last team on the docket for you, it's going to be the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy. Or are you buying, selling, or holding them?
I've gone back and forth on this one. I did think I kind of called their regression last year, so I was ahead of that one. I'm going to sell my 49ers stock, Ryan. Not because I think they're completely done. I think they might even improve off of last year. I could see that happening because last year was so bad for them. They went 6-11, but I just don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. We saw they made those Super Bowl runs, and that was it. It's like it's time to rebuild. They missed their window. That was it. They made it to 2 Super Bowls, but that was all they could get. They couldn't beat the Chiefs. Shanahan, he has his issues in big games, and I think we're going to start to see, as we did last year, the limitations of Brock Purdy when you're not backed up by a top-tier roster. As the roster starts to, change and morph and get younger, and some guys are getting paid, I just think it's going to be an uphill battle for them. You lost Greenlaw, Ayuk, you paid him that massive contract, and now you're trying to trade him, but probably not going to be able to because he had the injury, so he hasn't played. Deebo Samuel, you had to get rid of him because you couldn't pay 2 receivers. McCaffrey, giant contract, he got hurt last year. Your left tackle's getting old. Like you just got a lot of issues. The offensive line isn't what it used to be. I'm just worried about this team. There's so many question marks. I think they'll be better than they were last year because there's not all of the, stuff swirling around the offseason like last year. However, I just think they're in a transitional period. I think Shanahan will pull them out of this, but I think it's going to take another year, and I think Purdy's going to kind of be brought back down to earth this year. So I'm selling as far as thinking they're a legit threat this season. Last team up, Ryan. They lost Sam Darnold, and they're going with, it looks like J.J. McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy, the head coach, always gets them to the playoffs, and then they kind of have issues. Is this season different? How are you feeling about the Minnesota Vikings? Buy, sell, or hold?
Yeah, I was never even super high on them with Sam Darnold, and I was proven wrong there. They actually had a pretty good run with Sam Darnold. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to sell this team, man. They did.
Really?
Yeah, I think they had a couple of good offseason moves. They signed Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave. So they signed a couple of key guys there defensively, but they still have some question marks on defense, cornerback being one of those. The offensive line has some issues that they need to address. But really, the biggest question mark on this whole team, not only did I believe they retained Aaron Jones, right? I think I saw that come through the other day. So, which isn't super exciting. I know he was great last year, but how long can he keep that up, and how long can he be that good? And then the biggest question mark, obviously, kind of a big topic in the offseason is J.J. McCarthy, right? We just don't know. And instead of holding them, kind of being unsure, I just don't think this is J.J. McCarthy's year. I don't know that he's going to pan out to be an NFL quarterback or at least a franchise guy for the Vikings. That's just my personal take on it. And until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to keep selling this team. I don't think they have the key components all around them to make up for a deficient quarterback position. And ultimately, I think that leads to their demise this year. And when you look at their division, it's a pretty tough division to be in. So I just don't think they have what it takes. I'm selling them.
Fair. It is a tough division. I would buy the Vikings, actually, because I like J.J. McCarthy coming out of the draft. I think assuming the injury recovery goes well, and ultimately, when you look at Kevin McCarthy, whether he's had Kirk Cousins, whether he's had Sam Darnold, he wins a lot of football games and makes the playoffs. I think he's going to get the most out of McCarthy, whatever that is. I don't think they're a Super Bowl threat, but I think they are going to be a fringe playoff contender, assuming everything goes right. But I understand the trepidation.
Look, I hope I'm wrong. But,
yeah.
And I know he's been successful, but he's also been successful with like seasoned guys too. So
that's a good point.
This is going to be completely new. We'll see how it goes. I hope the best. I always hope the best for every player. Like I think that goes without saying. Us in this show, we always hope the best for every player. But ultimately, I just don't think the Vikings have what it takes. Especially with J.J. McCarthy behind center. I just don't think he's going to be that great of a quarterback this year, man.
And when all of our predictions blow up in our face, we'll delete this video.
That's so true. We have the power to do that.